So, good evening. Thank you for staying here until the very end. My name is Rob. I work for a company called Capco. We are a management consultancy firm. I have the wonderful title of Head of Ways of Working for the UK. It's impressive. What that means is my day job is looking at implementing agile frameworks and a whole range of other topics that are related to that, typically not in a technology environment. This is my client, Jamie. Be nice, or I may not have a job tomorrow. We're going to tell you about a story today which is rooted in reality. For the last 12 months, I've been working with Jamie and some of the colleagues who will come up later on a scaled agile journey. Jamie will tell you a little bit more about the team later on. So just to explain the pictures, it's a bit of a thing when I do my presentations. I like to talk about my kids quite a lot. The reason for that is, to me, Agile is not about tooling or about processes or anything to do with that. It's about the people that are involved in it. And when I work with clients who come from various different backgrounds, I think the thing that we always lack as working adults is the ability to take ourselves away from our daily environment and to think differently and to come up with some new ideas. And when I watch what my two young kids do, a 3.5 and a 1.5-year-old, it is incredible how they see the world and how they imagine things and what they must find out when they learn. I wish I could remember what it was like to be a 3.5-year-old again. So I thought I'd include a picture of her anyway when she was discovering chocolate cake. She had a big dairy issue, and this is the first time she had a proper cake. So she was very happy with it. Jamie.
Can I just check it on? Yeah, you can hear me. I'm Jamie Heron. I'm head of product delivery. I joined M&G on the 5th of March 2001, which is not unusual for M&G. Lots of people are at M&G for a long length of time. I think that says a lot about the firm. We have got a fantastic culture, and we like to stretch people. Never stretch myself as much as I'm going to do tonight, so you'll just have to bear with me. I've also got a Northern Irish accent. I live in the Republic of Ireland, and I live in Tunbridge Wells, so if you can understand me, happy days. The team that I head up, and we've got one of the team in the room, it's a team of 30 project managers. We'll come on to more detail later, but what we do is we launch investment products. So we take an idea from the investment floor and we deliver that to market so that people in the street or institutions can invest in it. In terms of why Agile appealed to me as a leader, I think secretly I wanted to do one of these talks, so that was probably behind it. But it's something that I saw from the sidelines in the noughties. So I've got an IT background. I don't know much about IT. I know that Android is better than iOS. That's what the height of it.
Not true.
No, it is. See, I got some applause. So I saw a little bit of the theory in Agile, and although we never applied it, I think it probably influenced some of my decision making. This time last year, I got immersed in it. We had a thing at MG where we were going to do Agile at scale, so we're going to roll out Agile to basically everybody. I had my sleepless nights. I managed a team of 30 project managers. First page, you don't need project managers for Agile. I thought that'll make the one-to-ones interesting. But luckily, we got Capco on board, and Robin and his team have helped us on the journey. It's been a journey. We're still smiling. We're starting to see some of the success coming through, but it's difficult, and I think hard comes through quite a bit in this. In terms of my photo, so this is me with my 4 kids in Ireland on the hottest day of the year, and we're all wearing wetsuits. I've got a 5mm wetsuit on. It's quite cold in Ireland, but it's a great place. You should visit it.
Paid for by the Irish Travel Board.
I wish.
Okay. Enough of the Agile bullshit. When I go into a client pitch, and I do lots and lots of pitches, at least once a week, if not 2 a week, if I talk about Agile as a specific technology topic, I just get ripped to pieces every time by the client. And I learned my lesson about a year ago to stop telling them that Agile was the way forward. It's not because they disagree with Agile as a principle or as a topic or something that can add value to them. It's because they kept saying to me, you're not understanding the context of how we operate. Yes, you can get your 7 to 9 people working really effectively and you can build me a great product. But, and typically these are CXO level people, I don't manage a team of 7 to 9 people. You know, we are an organization of 5,000 people, 10,000 people, even ones over 100,000. Don't tell me that you can implement Scrum and everything will be great. Think about the risks involved about some of the large financial services institutions and what would happen if we just went in blindly thinking we can scale it. I mean, you saw the problems before when they're doing the exercise just with 3 teams. It compounds and it aggravates. So there's a few little snippets. We know that scaling Agile is a big topic at the moment. We know that lots of people are talking about it. The way that we view it at Capco is it's not just about Agile, it is absolutely part of it, including the team level Agile mechanisms, including the scaling frameworks, scaled Agile framework, Spotify, Scrum of Scrums, it doesn't matter, it's all relevant. But we also have to think about things like annual funding cycles. What's the use of saying we're going to build an innovation center if you can't fund an innovation center every 3 months, as a minimum, for example? We talk about culture a lot. It's easier to convince 9 people to think in a certain way. Can you really change the mindset of 100,000 people in unison to change and do something new overnight? I mean, is that ever even possible? These are huge, huge, huge challenges that we're dealing with. So I get annoyed when I see articles on LinkedIn that say we have a wonderful answer for this, and if you do this one stupid method, then the world's going to change, because it's just not true. Because as all of you will probably attest to in the room, we are human beings and we have opinions and we change opinions and we change our worldviews constantly. It is an absolute minefield. Put your hand up if you've got at least these three of these letters behind your name on LinkedIn. See, no one's going to admit to it now. It's seriously time for a change. The two talks who've just come before have both emphasised the importance of learning and the importance of continually developing yourself. The point I'm making here is not that that's not important. Of course it is. But we are beginning to define ourselves by the fact that I can say, I'm an SPC 4.6, so I am qualified to do everything you could ever imagine for scaling Agile. A nice little example I've used before is if you got into a British Airways flight to go to Germany or something, and the pilot came on the radio to say, I've just come out of flight school, I've learned all the theory, it's fine, don't worry, I'll get you there safely. You're going to start questioning a little bit if that's actually the reality. There is a blend that's needed, and we all know this. There's a blend that's needed in the team between some experience, some qualifications, some practical hands-on, scars that say, I've tried this and it didn't bloody work and I figured out a new way of doing it, because that's how we learn from each other. We used to have this kind of message. We used to say we're here to help each other. That was the root behind, the Scrum Master, isn't it? Servant leader. We're here to help each other. Today, the talk that we're going to give is not about the perfect story of scaling at Agile. Lord knows it's been a very difficult 12 months, but we're still here. It's not about one framework that was beneficial over another, because we have to take a blend of all of them. Today's talk is about showing you the reality of the people who go through this change, non-technology team people, and what it means and what it impacts for them. So a quick 30-second intro. Jamie just gave a bit of a one before. So for those who don't know M&G, it's now M&G PLC, floated on the stock market 2 weeks ago. It's doing well as a company. 2 brands merged together, M&G Investments Limited, which do investment products, and Prudential PLC, which do more savings and pensions. And they joined together to create a more broader whole-of-life financial services offerings for their customers, with the aim that says on the slide, our aim is to grow our customers' wealth and improve their world by investing with care. And as Jamie alluded to, and this is all public on the website, they're investing $250 million for a 5-year transformation program to change the way that they operate when they do post-merger integration of the company and to leverage these new ways of working. So it's an incredibly exciting place.
It's my bit now. It's always dangerous when you got to read what you do as a day job, but you'll have to bear with me. I'm going to read it. So just to recap, so the team of 30 or so people are the team responsible for taking an investment idea and getting it to the market, so the public or institutional investors can invest in it. The investors range from person on the street, so we'll have some M&G fund investors hopefully in the room, to institutional investors. Typically our fund sizes are kind of start around 100 million, can go all the way up to $1 billion. Our investor base is largely UK and European, but as Rob's talked about, we've come out of, we've demerged from Prudential. It gets really complicated, I won't try to explain it, but we will now be operating much more globally, which will bring its challenges. The funds are launched with a project manager and a business analyst at the centre of a team, and they reach out to about 30 different people or teams to get that fund delivered. Funds tend to get delivered in between 3, 4, 5, 6 months. We have got some projects which go on for 12 months, some 18 months, depending on how complex they are. The project managers and the business analysts, they've got a project management or investment operations background, but they do understand how to launch funds. It's quite a specialist area that we work in, and as a result, it's been quite difficult to recruit into it. I don't know whether it does sound easy or not. It's not easy. I'm 22 years old. I've been doing this for 2 months. I guess what complicates it is the fact that the products that we launch are complicated. We've got some rocket scientists in M&G who have got the best investment ideas, and you think, yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to hang together, but we've got a fantastic track record of delivering that. But they are complex projects. It's also a heavily regulated environment. This is people's money. This is people's pensions. We've got lots of people making sure that we're doing the right thing for our investors. We also we've got an excellent track record of delivering complex products to markets. We're quite often first to market with a number of things, and also it's bespoke. So when we're delivering stuff for institutions, they want their version of the product. They don't want just a vanilla product. Again, that sounds easy. Our sales team will say anything is possible, and then my team are the ones who have to make it happen with the 30-odd teams involved in it. I guess the last 12 months, I'm completely bought into Agile as the answer for us. That's not because of where we were. We had an incredibly successful team. Our stakeholders thought we were legendary. At least that's what they tell me. But it was a model based around a project manager and a BA being at the centre of that project. It was a very linear model. I think about 5 years ago, we had a team of about 5 project managers. It's now about 30. That shows you how successful we've been. Our stakeholders come back for more. I think if we did an awful job, we'd be quite bored. But our success was built around a linear progression model. If the company wanted to do twice as much, we had to hire twice as many project managers. That's not the end of the world, but when you think about the 30 teams involved in it, you start to get into exponential curves that don't bear thinking about. So given M&G's ambitions, as Rob's talked about, we had to look at something different. And we think that Agile is how we're going to get that scalability. We're 12 months in. I still think it. I think it more now than I did this time last year, but this time last year I was trying to kill it. So I've had a complete journey on it. I guess the challenge that Rob and his team have helped us with is trying to retain all the good bits of our old model and bring in the Agile thinking and the mindset, and we talk about it a lot. For us, this is more about mindset than tools. It's not about the Kanban. It's not about the stand-ups. It's not about quarterly business reviews. We haven't had one of those yet. We've been doing 6 months. It's about mindset. It's about people being open to doing things differently. If people don't have that mindset, I think what we'll do is we'll hit a wall, and we'll just revert back to type. And in 2 years' time, we'll think, oh no, Agile doesn't work. It only works in IT. We're not going to let that happen. I think that's about it. I'm 2 pages in. I'm 1 in now. I've got 3 to go. Keep going.
So just a quick run over this. So as we said, the theory that the Capco team took when we started working with Jamie and with Megan, who you'll meet soon, it wasn't just based and rooted in one model. So we probably could argue that Spotify model, if that's a true thing, is what we took the theory from. So we've established a tribe. We've got squads who deliver the projects.
Sorry, I just died here.
Yeah, that's fine. And we've got chapters for some of the key roles that we've introduced and the existing PMs and BAs who we've reformed into a new type of role to repivot how they're going to focus. So it's probably most similar to that. We've taken elements of Scaled Agile Framework because it's relatively good at pulling out some of the big level governance topics that you need to have with the senior level management. So we've got some of the structures in place from that. And the core teams, I know there's only half a picture there, but the core teams are basically rooted in Scrum. So we've got the standard 2-week iteration. Again, we're testing whether 2 weeks is the right increment to do. We've got the backlog, we do the sprint plan, etc., etc. Okay, so we're blending all of them together. So that was 12 months ago. Here we are today. We've learnt a lot in these 12 months. So the first one we wanted to call out is The biggest change we had to make within this team, as in from a consultant to a client standpoint, is we're dealing with a team of project managers. They are used to managing everything, managing people, and they did it incredibly effectively. So when we're walking in there saying you're now going to operate in a team of, roughly 7 people, they are peers. You don't manage anybody. You're going to take on leadership roles and you're going to show people the way forward. That was a very big change.
It was, and I would love to speak for all of the 30 team and how they've approached it. I can't do that. I'll tell you how I feel about this. I've been MG almost 20 years, and you get to a stage where you get into a position where you've been there so long that you must have learned something about what your day job is. You just have to write it down, but you know what it is. So you get in a position where almost you rely on people coming to you, ask you the question, and you give them the answer. I guess the other time you get involved is when things aren't going the way they should be. So you tend to get involved when things start going wrong, but it's very much a teach rather than coach type environment. Rob, as every one of you will know that Agile requires leaders and not managers, and that's difficult when I've got a manager title in my name, Megan's got a manager title, the project managers are managers. It's hard to let the team determine how they'll solve the problems. It's hard not to jump in. It's hard to see the team tackle the problems differently from how you would do it. But guess what? We've got some really good people in the team, and they know quite a bit, and the ideas they come up with are quite good. So it's all about us. For me, the rules have been simple. If the acceptance criteria is met, then that's all that counts. And you realise that you start to think much more about the acceptance criteria itself. You start building the things that you want to see, what you want to see presented at the end of the 2 weeks, and as a result, the outcome is better. It's deeper. It's just a better outcome. Again, that sounds easy. It's been really hard to do that, especially when you come from the background we've come from. And equally, when things get stressful, that's when we revert back to type. Our best successes have been when we really empower the team to do, or the squad to do what they need to do. And the amount of satisfaction we get out of that is huge. It's also quite nice because you're doing less work, and the team are actually doing the work. And I get to the stage where my day will be a lot easier than it is now. At least that's what Rob tells me, and that's why we're doing it.
Eventually.
Sorry, that's not in the notes. I've made that up.
I know. I didn't agree to that one.
Yeah.
Okay, lesson 2. Business agility and new ways of working are a mentality and a broad approach. They are not textbook answers. You have to test, learn, and adapt. And again, it just baffles me how, as practitioners of Agile, we believe in all this stuff, but then half the time we're so afraid to go out and do something unless it says, right in the Scrum Guide, you may do this as part of your role. And if it doesn't say it, we won't do it. It's just insane. Isn't the whole point to just pick something up and give it a shot? And if it doesn't work, then just drop it. 2 weeks later, we'll do something new. It baffles me, but we've taken this on with the team as hard and as much as we can, and encourage them to change their behaviours, because the change when it's not in a technology environment is fully rooted in people's willingness to try something new and not feel afraid to do that.
Yeah. Again, for us, this is about applying the Agile theory to our problems rather than applying the Agile answer that a lot of you people in the room might be using in your technology projects. I don't know how many people are launching investment products using Agile. I'm guessing there's not that many, so I don't know where I'm going to go for my next job. But this is new for us. The approach that we're taking with Capco is to define the problem. So what's the outcome that we're trying to achieve, and trying to break it down into smaller pieces that collectively will achieve the outcome. My happiest moment was seeing how happy Rob was when I said we should break a story into smaller parts. He almost had to leave the room. It was heartwarming. Again, that sounds easy to do that, breaking it down in small pieces, not making Rob almost cry. But it's hard and it's slow and it's hard and it's challenging and it's hard. There's a common theme around this. This is hard. I think if our job was in the delivery of IT systems, it probably would be easier because we'd have more reference sites to look at. We'd know what the textbook, the second, third, fourth versions of the textbooks would tell us. We'd know what ceremonies we need. We'd know what things need to happen and what do people need to do. I guess one of the things that was discussed at length this time last year, it wasn't beaten into us, was that you kind of have to let go a bit and make this up as you go along. And again, in a heavily regulated environment, that's difficult. There are people in our organisation, I think, who come from a technology background and look at what we're doing and think we're not doing proper Agile. I think I try to wind back the smugness quite a bit when we prove them that we are doing it. It's just we're doing a different type of Agile. We're using Agile as a tool, not as a solution. We're fine-tuning it. The work that Rob we're doing is it's literally because we're coming up with product owner. What does that look like? Doesn't look like that. We have to define what it is. We have to have people like me doing product owner, which is interesting. So anytime we come up with a new challenge, we have to shape and mold what we're doing. I think if we just rolled out the standard method, like I said before, I think this will all get very difficult, and we'll go, well, maybe Agile's not the answer. Maybe we'll revert back to the way we're doing it, and then we're back into a linear model where if I want to do twice as much, I've got to hire twice as many people. So Agile for us is the answer, but it's as it says up there, it's about it's the mentality of it rather than the tools. I have to slip on to the next one because we're mixing this up a bit. Again, this one sounds obvious. The sum of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. That's difficult to achieve when the project team is 2 full-time people, a PM and a project manager and a business analyst. As I say, I've got an IT background, so we've all been in teams that outperform, typically in the run-up to a launch weekend, and if it's a project I'm involved in, it's normally that we're behind plan as well, and we're never going to hit the live date. But in those teams, we've all been there, the team clicks, you understand who the morning people are, you understand who the evening people are, you understand who you can just trust with your life, and they'll do what they say they're going to do. You understand the people that you have to give a bit of a nudge to, you understand people like me, you've got to kind of give that sort of nudge, but the team know how to work together. In our old environments, the team was a team of 2 people, and yes, they did click, and yes, they did work together, but we kind of missed out on the bigger bit. So we didn't really get the sum of the whole. The sum of the whole. I'm used as a mathematician, but I don't think there's a huge difference between 2 and where the sum of the whole is. Agile's given us an opportunity to benefit from that. Could we have engineered it without Agile? Yeah, probably. But again, that's difficult to change something like that when our stakeholders are asking us to do so much stuff, come up with ideas that are revenue generating for the company and increase the return for our investors. It's difficult. Can you still hear me? Yeah. It's difficult for us to stop and try and do something different. With Agile, we've had that chance to think of this differently. I guess the best way to sum up our project teams in the past is they've kind of been like islands working together, but there's only so far they could go with that. Is what we've done perfect? No, not yet, but we're definitely getting there. I guess so. Jan, who's in the audience, is one of our Scrum Masters. He's got the camera. If everybody looks at Jan, Jan's classic at the stand-up says, "Have you got a blocker?" And I'm thinking, "Yeah, I've got 7 days in the week. If I've got 9, I'm laughing." But we did have a stand-up a couple of weeks back, and this has happened a couple of times, but this is the one that I've been there to watch it happen. One of the business analysts was relying on a report from IT. IT, on this case, didn't hit the deadline, so we're actually late. So the blocker was, not sure if we can go live with the product because we haven't got the report that the client needed. 3 other people in the room came up with suggestions in what they had, I guess, experienced the same thing. The 3 suggestions were very, very different, but they were actual things rather than, oh, you should try this. They had solutions for that problem. Now that removed the blocker. Will was able to pick the best solution of that and implement it. Did that turn night into day or day into night? Not sure which one. No, it didn't. But it's little things like that will help us become more scalable. It is that having 9 people in the room rather than just 2 people in the room and being able to get people up to speed. You've got stupid stuff like having better holiday cover. If we need to pull more people in, people are right up to speed because they're hearing what's happened in the stand-up. I firmly believe it's little things like that that are going to make us transform as a team and as a department. Oh, I'm done.
Okay, 4th and final lesson. This is the one that's the closest for me. The biggest thing that I think is lacking in any scaled framework is a recognition of what we are doing to people when we change them in this particular way. The amount of times that I've been in scenarios in various different client engagements where we've sent someone like Jamie on a product owner course, and then they've come back from it and we've said, you're a product owner now, go out and do your job, you'll do amazing, you're agile. And the reality shock of coming from a completely different background into this is just, it's phenomenal on the individual. I mean, we've all been there where we've had to stand up and do something or go on a course or write an essay or something we're not comfortable with. It is absolutely shocking how to do that. We have to take a more serious look at how we play with either individual or organisational psychology in what we are doing. We need to better understand the impact we're having on people's mindfulness, on their well-being, on their mental health. You know, it should be an increasing topic now, and it is becoming an increasing topic. And the work that we all do impacts people in this way. And it's not written about yet properly. It's getting there a little bit more. And I genuinely think that as a group, we've got an obligation to start working in this area a lot more, because it has a huge impact on people. It's serious stuff. There's a few more things we could have spoken through, but I won't, because I'm conscious of what the time is. So I'm just going to jump straight onto the embarrassing part where I ask the rest of the team to come up.
In your own time there, folks.